celebraremos un acto que para nosotros es importante como colofón de las actividades llevadas a cabo dentro de la Semana de la Arquitectura, y es que presentaremos el catálogo de una exposición que se celebró aquí en el Colegio de Arquitectos con motivo del Día de la Mujer, en la que se presentan la visión que tienen las mujeres arquitectas de lo que es la arquitectura para ellas. Bueno, ya digo poco más. Repito, bienvenidas y dejo a Eva ya para que presente el acto. Muchas gracias.
Pues gracias, Marina. Gracias a todos por estar aquí. La verdad que le decía a Marina que poco a poco, yo nací en Canarias y me he ido haciendo muchas casas en Valencia. El poli, la universidad ha acabado siendo mi casa, y ahora desde que está Marina empiezo a sentir también que el colegio es mi casa, porque cada vez que le propongo algo dicen que sí con los ojos cerrados, y es muy gratificante. Lamentamos el retraso de media hora en empezar, que no podría explicar por qué ha pasado. No tengo una gran explicación, pero me sabe mal, la verdad. El proyecto es, a ver, yo cuando tengo que explicarme empiezo diciendo que yo soy arquitecta y soy feminista desde hace mucho tiempo, y eso explica un poco la trayectoria. La vida ha llevado a que Carlos Gómez y yo, que saben que somos pareja, quien nos conoce, y los dos arquitectos, pudiéramos participar en el proyecto internacional Yes We Plan, que intenta promocionar la incorporación de las mujeres a lo que en España llamamos arquitectura y que fuera de España se llama arquitectura e ingeniería civil. Es una investigación que lo que trataba de ver era cuál era el estado de las arquitectas en cada uno de los 5 países que tomaban parte, que era el que lo promueve Austria, que tenemos aquí parte de la representación del Colegio de Arquitectos de Austria, Alemania, tenemos también representación del Colegio de Arquitectos de Alemania, el Colegio de Arquitectos de Eslovenia, la asociación actual, nunca sé bien acabarlo de decir, pero que tiene que ver con el hábitat sostenible y que además ha organizado el premio de mujeres arquitectas en Francia, que ya lleva un montón de ediciones dando premios a mujeres importantes, tanto francesas como desde hace 3 años, hay un reconocimiento internacional. Y finalmente, por estas cosas de la vida, la Universidad Politécnica, que en realidad en este caso somos Carlos y yo, pero que hemos contado con todo el apoyo de la infraestructura de la universidad. Cada país ha estudiado las cuestiones que se tenían propuestas, y la idea era tener buenas prácticas que se pudieran intercambiar entre países. Una de las mejores prácticas, por supuesto, es la del premio francés, que ya aquí adelanto que podíamos promover desde Valencia un premio español de mujeres arquitectas, ¿no? Habrá que perseguirlo más. En las tareas que hay que hacer en la investigación, una era visitar los sitios y conocer. Llevamos 2 días y medio viendo cómo trabajan las arquitectas en Valencia. Hemos ido al Politécnico, venimos de estar con Elizabeth Quintana en la obra del puerto. Bueno, la verdad es que ha sido una visita fantástica. Y aquí este es el colofón, que me parecía que era un modo de terminar de lo más apropiado. Ahora con nosotros van a estar Daphne, el líder, que viene desde el grupo que está organizando la investigación y que tiene los primeros datos que todavía hay que acabar de estudiar de la encuesta internacional que se hizo, y además se han realizado 20 entrevistas en profundidad en cada país. Después tendremos a Catherine Gouillot, que es la presidenta de la entidad que, vinculada al Ministerio de Cultura francés, que otorga el premio a las mujeres arquitectas en Francia y algunas internacionales. También tenemos a Sophie Bertolier, que es la tesorera del grupo. Bueno, tenemos aquí a todas las amigas. Y continuará Bettina Dreyer, que viene por parte del Colegio de Arquitectos de Austria, que nos dirá que uno de los resultados ya de esta investigación es que Austria va a lanzar el primer premio para mujeres arquitectas. Ellas van a hablar en inglés, pero creo que en general podrán entender. Si alguien no entiende algo, lo dice y lo traducimos. Hacemos un poco, no sé, un poco muy patético, pero da igual. Lo traduciremos. Daphne, cuando quieras. Daphne Dreyer. No funciona.
Okay, got it.
This side next, and we will pass.
Yes, first one, please.
La primera.
Sí, okay. Okay, hello. It's very nice to see so many people here. I will try to speak slowly and use very basic English so that hopefully really everybody can get along with what I'm trying to explain. Yes, my name is Daphne. I am working at the Federal Chamber in Austria for architects and civil engineers. And I work in the sector European and International Relations, which also involves me in EU projects such as the Yes We Plan project. And together with a colleague of mine, we are responsible for project management and project coordination. Also, I have been taking quite my time on the data analysis of one of our intellectual outputs of the survey, which was an online survey. It was Europe-wide, and we actually got over, I think, about 1,000 responses, so it was really a great success for the survey. And the last few months, I have been spending on trying to analyze the data and see where the similarities between the European countries, especially from the project partner countries, lie in terms of gender equality and also gender discrimination in general in these professions. So I'm just, if you want to, I can also give a basic overview of the project, only if it's really wanted and if you did the general overview. Okay, great. My Spanish is not too good, so. Okay, so I will just give a real, hopefully good insights on the data analysis. So if we can proceed, the participants we actually counted for this analysis were only the European project partners and European countries, because we got a lot of responses also from outside of Europe. But for this special data analysis for the project, it was just really relevant to have just the Europe to really have a compensation also. So you can see we have 903 participants. It was 711 women who were all architects or civil engineers. And we even had 183 men who took part. You can see below in the tables the age groups which we had. So I think the majority was in the age group from 41 to 50. So it's quite good, well mixed. Also for the participants per country, you can easily see where we're pretty good on the count. So every project partner, Austria, France, Germany, Spain, and Slovenia are the 5 project partners. We all had really good backouts from the survey. So if we continue. I think we can skip that. I have made an overview of how the professions in the 5 partner countries are related in architects and civil engineers and how many women and men there are. So we can go through that really quick. So in Austria, you see it's a lot more architects, of course. And also the civil engineers, majority of civil engineers in Austria are men. And this is also not only for the participants of the questionnaire, but this is also for general. In Austria, civil engineers are really basically mainly men dominated and very, very few women. So if we go to the next country, we have France. There is even the possibility to have both of the professions. So in Austria, it's not common. And also you can see it's a bit better at the civil engineers end with the women. Into next. Germany, we have also, it looks quite better. We have a majority of architects here, and also a lot of women in the civil engineer sector. So it was really good to have inputs from both of these professions because they are similar in some countries, but so different in others. And Spain. It's maybe most interesting for you here. So the Spanish participants, it was 243. And the majority were architects. We have a very, very little percentage that were actually both professions. And you see here the civil engineers also are mainly dominated by women. So if you look at the table right there, it's actually really good because we do have, well, a total of 10 participants that were civil engineers, but the majority were women. Yeah, so I think Spain also, it was very well mixed. Last but not least, France. Oh, Slovenia. Forgot the Slovenians. I'm so sorry, Slovenian colleagues. We have architects, civil engineers, and also, again, both. So in Slovenia, it seems to be very common that you can also do both professions. Okay, next. So this was one of the most interesting questions that we had. Since graduation, approximately how much of your potential working time have you worked in your studied profession? This was supposed to show, especially to show up the difference, how much men can work more since they finish their studies in general, and women usually start later or end their career earlier. So we really have a great example here. The blue table right here is for women, and you see A is at 39%. That means they worked 100% of their working time since they ended their graduation. When we over here have men, which you have to also keep in mind that we had about almost a sixth of men. Is it better? So you have to also think about the majority of participants were women. So even that, the 183 men had a 63% of working 100% of their potential working time since they graduated. So you really can see that the lesser it gets, the more it gets for women. So these were most of the answers. Afterwards, we asked about the reasons for not having worked the 100%. And we are counting here a different number of participants without the people who actually worked 100%. And the yellow part on both of the diagrams is childcare. So you can really see that childcare and also caring for other persons is the majority of reasons for women, while it is morally very fairly different from men, because you see the engagement in other jobs, professions, takes up about 29%, and it's the majority of the men, and also further education studies. So it's sadly very clear that most women were taking more time from work away for childcare. Here we try to evaluate how the different professions are put up with their working hours. So especially to know how many women and how many men do work full time actually, because the general goal was to find out, is it really that common that women tend to work more in part-time than men? We see here it's, the majority works 41 to 50 hours on both sides of the gender. But the lesser it gets up here, the more women seem to work less. So I think part-time jobs, the most common part-time job is around the 21 to 30 hours. And you can definitely see here, there's a big difference in that. So we asked about work-life balance also. This was very interesting because if you look at them, it's almost the same, actually. And I don't know if you can read it at the back, but the dark blue part is a very poor work-life balance. The light blue part is rather poor. So it's pretty much split up half and half. And I was wondering how these could be so similar, but also it should be so different. So in the next question, we asked the reasons for if your gender identity actually has an impact on your work-life balance. So right at the left, you have there is no impact at all. And 51% of men actually said no, my gender identity has no impact on it, and was already 23% of women. And from left to right, we go to some, quite a lot, and a lot. And it's okay, I think. But the more we get to the, okay, does it actually make a difference if you're a woman or a man when it comes to your work-life balance? You can actually see that it pretty gets a bit more towards the women. So I don't really remember what the next question was. We are going to see. Okay. Oh, that was sad. Also, I forgot one important part. For the work-life balance, actually, I read a lot of comments that were also possible to make in the questionnaire. So if anybody was missing something, they could comment on their own. And it was interesting because most of the men had felt the need to express, well, my work-life balance is bad because society is thinking of I have to work a lot. And also I have the responsibility because if I don't work a lot, then I will lose my job or I will lose projects. So this was mainly the reason in the men's participants to saying, how can I express that really well? The main statement was, I have a bad work-life balance because I'm a man, because society thinks I have to work so much. On the other side, the women mostly answered, I have a really bad work-life balance because I cannot work that much, because nobody supports me in childcare, caring for other people, getting all the school kids and stuff under one roof. But also, if they don't, they're not seen as responsible. So it was really interesting because the work-life balance was so similar from women and men, but the reasons were so different. So yeah, the question about, do you think there is a gender pay gap for doing the same work? So we have a big column right here in the blue. So yes, there is a gender pay gap. It's in favor of men. But actually, it was not so clear how we got there. If you can get to our... This was the question about the approximate average net income per year. And it was pretty similar, but I do think we still have to work more on that. So I won't give it too much attention right now, because I'm pretty sure there is, but it's definitely important to split up the single countries, because the average net income is so different if you, for example, take Austria and Slovenia. So that is why maybe this looks actually really okay in the sense of doesn't really show the big gender pay gap. But I will definitely be working more on this. It's a bit more complex to analyze all of the countries on their own. Okay, we can skip that. All of you are free to look at the presentation afterwards. I will just want to, this is good. I just want to really put out the most important points. So this was a block of questions where we asked how often people have personally been the target, mostly because of their gender. And it was so shocking to me because the first question was on physical violence and harassment. So something that is really a very direct question if you've ever experienced it in your profession. And often, thankfully, is at 0% of both the genders. But the majority of women that actually asked, if you look at the numbers, it's about, I think in absolute numbers, it was about 400 women have at least once experienced physical harassment and violation and violence at work. Whereas men at 93% were really like, no, that doesn't happen. Also, bullying, victimization, discriminatory language, jokes. We see that the green wave from the men is really going up on the never, and it's slowly getting more in the women's section. We also have a few more after that. So, allocation of unpleasant work tasks, allocation of inappropriate tasks. So, this is mostly for gender stigmas where you say, okay, the women get the coffee, the women are supposed to dress nice. And that it actually really still happens when you have achieved the status of an architect or a civil engineer. So it's not that you work in assistancy or so, where this is a very common thing. But I was actually really shocked that it even still happens in these kind of professions. So a very nice comment I read was, it was a guy. He was probably in his mid 40s answering this survey very genuinely. And he commented, well, I don't really have a problem making coffee for the colleagues. I think it's really nice. Whereas the women said, well, when there's an important discussion and somebody asks, oh, I want a coffee, it's mostly me who gets it right in the important discussion. So I think it's really a general view of the men do it if and they feel like it's a kind thing to do, and women mostly feel forced to do kind of inappropriate tasks, whereas they should be part of the conversation and really part of the discussion. So yeah, I think we have one more of these. Exactly. So not being fully considered in discussions and decision-making processes. So here you also see it's a lot of women, and even the term often got mentioned a lot. Also not being fully considered for promotions, salary increases, etc. So we really have a nice way of the men going towards the no, this doesn't happen, and the women going toward more towards feeling like this does actually happen quite a lot. One nice anecdote from the survey comments also is my favorite, actually. I really love to to tell it. I read a comment after these questions stating a man in his mid-30s. He was very well paid. At his average net income, it was about over 70,000 per year. And he also gave in that he has no children and he's doing really well in his work. And on these questions, which were mainly really, we picked out the most common things that we thought would actually happen to women and men. And he commented, after stating never at every single question, he commented really seriously, is this supposed to be a joke? He was so offended. And I was so confused because I thought, what is supposed to be a joke? So I read the whole answers from his questionnaire, and he was really answering it very genuinely, but he actually could not believe that things like physical violence, harassment, and also not being considered as an expert would actually be possible. So this was very, very fascinating for me, that there are still people who really do not even know about these things actually happening so many times and so often throughout the whole countries of Europe. So I think we're skipping a few now. So these are very big questions. Again, I will just go through them really quick. It's about sources of gender discrimination. You also see a lot of times we see that the work colleagues are very very often source of actually discriminating other colleagues, mainly because of gender. Business clients also, many comments I received about this question was that female architects and engineers actually had to get a male colleague for people to listen to them and to take them seriously. So it really seemed like a very broad problem across all the countries. Okay, this was the main question of the survey, actually. According to your experience, who is the target of gender discrimination? Since we had even a whole of 9 non-binary people, I of course included them in here. I did not include them in the few last statistics just because it's only 9 in relation to the whole other 800 participants, and they would falsify a lot. But for this question, of course, we have all 3 genders. And how often are women the target of gender discrimination? So the right at the left is very often, and sometimes you can see we have a lot of women, but also one small percentage of women answering no, they're never target of gender discrimination. So I think it's really still very, very different between the few sides. So some women don't even experience it. But still, we have a lot of men saying, no, this is not possible, this is not happening. So how often are men target of gender discrimination? Well, sometimes, but rarely. So non-binary people were also very diverse because many people do not know. But the few that we had were actually also saying, well, yes, because it's really hard. Okay. We can skip a little bit now. I'll just leave that here. So what you have to cope within your profession is also frequent traveling, attending business events, dinners, and little family-friendly superiors also. So we also have a lot of men that are actually parents that stated, well, this is the main problem in this profession, that some countries do have the privilege to really have childcare support and to support working parents. But in most of the countries, it really looked like there's still some work to do. So here we have the number of approximately parents who answered this survey. The top right is 3 or more. We have 2, 1, and none. So it's quite a little bit less than half of the participants did have no children, and half of the participants were pretty split up. And the next question was about how many months you were not fully able to work due to caring for your children or other people. And you see right here the very big green one. It is, the green stands for men, and 53% of men answered 0 months. We have quite some women too, but if you put, here we have it right there, 49 or more, we have 0% men and 5% women. So the 5% are actually a total of 38 women that were not able to work for 49 months or more, whereas very less of the men. And also I realized someone commented that, well, he has children, but he didn't lose any of his working time because he has a wife. And he put this like there. I was surprised that people actually think it is okay to have this kind of privilege, to have a wife at home who takes care of the kids. So this was my very short glimpse. Yeah, I am very active on social media with our Yes We Plan channel on Facebook, on Instagram. and also our website. So it's on website link is right at the top. I would really be happy if some of you actually follow the process of the data evaluation and the outcome of the project. So we will keep you updated, and we're really looking forward to people actually taking part in this. I think it's going to be really good. Thank you. Oh, good. Oops, sorry.
No? Ahora? Okay. That's what happens when we make events on working time, so we will cope with that. Estaba hablando en inglés, perdón. No, me he liado. Ahora va a hablar Catherine Gouillot, que es la presidenta del grupo que da el premio en Francia, que nos lo va a contar un poquito. ¿Vale? Gracias.
Thank you. So I will stay here. I'm very sorry because I cannot speak Spanish, but gracias mucho to offer us to come here and to visit you. We are so happy to be with you. We are a group of 4 French people. One architect is Sophie Berthelier. She wins the Prize of Woman Architect 5 years ago. Madeleine Lequéal, which is a trésorière of ARVA, and Veneta Avramova, which is a member of Women in Architecture France. So maybe you go back to the starter. I will introduce me and the association. I am Catherine Guyot, I am architect, and well, thanks for inviting us in your country, and thanks for all of us to be there. So, second one. Well, I am Catherine Guyot, and I have 2 associations. I have one name is ARVA, Association of the Research on the City and Housing. And the second association is Women in Architecture. We founded with Sophie Berthelier and Véronique Descharrières 4 years ago. Women in Architecture France, WWY.fr. It's a French association of women architects. So why we decide to make a prize of architects? Second one. Well, you know about the Prix Care. The Prix Care is a very famous prize for architects, mostly for men. Nearly only 7% of women. So this prize is like the Nobel in France. To explain what is a Nobel is the best prize we know for the world. And there is only 4 women who got it. You know Zaha Hadid, you know Kazuyo Sejima, Carmen Pigman, and some years after, we have in 2020 Grafton Architect. Grafton Architect with Yvonne Farrell and Sheila McMara. They are Irish women. And the year following, we have Lacaton Vassal, you know them. We are a group of 1 woman and 1 man architect who wins this Pritzker Prize. In France, we have l'Équerre d'Argent. It's a big prize for architects. And during 36 years, we have mostly men and only 5 women, including a couple of men and women. So it makes 13% of women in the French prize. Next, please. In France, we have the big prize of architecture called le Grand Prix de l'Architecture. And during so many years, from 1975, mostly male, only 36 male and only 2 women alone and a couple. So we hope the Ministry of Culture and the new ministry, Madame Roselyne Bachelot, will do something better for the new prize of architecture. But imagine, during so much time, only mostly men. Oh, 2.8 women win this prize, the French prize. So to continue, you know about European program of women architects. There is Architect Journal. It is a newspaper. It is but it is very good because they have communication easy, because there is a big newspaper in England. So there is 3 prizes. That means a James Draw Award, recognize the design architect who, through her work and commitment, give design excellence, has raised the profile of women in architecture. So in this prize, we have many famous persons who got it, like Zaha Hadid, like Amanda Leavitt, who got the prize of Arva too, Odile Deck for the French one, Yvonne Farrell and the Grafton Architects. So very famous architects were on this prize. So next, please. So there is 2 or 3 competitions. One is last year, the James Draw Prize winner was Yasmini Larry and Peter Barbara, architect associate with Alice Bromfield. So next, please. There is the Mora Gamil Award. And in 2019, I was there in London, and it was a Chinese girl who got it, Xu Tiangqiang. There is also a prize for people who are not architects, but who are there to promote architects. So there was Hélène Binet, a French photographer, who received this prize. So you can put your candidature, to candidate on this prize, and just to write to wawards@emap.com. So there is a list of people who got the prize. The other prize is the Mora Jamil Prize for emerging architecture. So you have emerging architecture less than 40, you have women more than 40, and you have women who are promoting architecture. So it's very interesting to go there and to see this prize, because now with the Brexit, I don't know how it works, but I like to go and to meet these people. Next, please. And then like Kate McIntosh and Ganya Scottish architect, they got the James Draw and Ada Louise Huxtable prizes. So you have also some old people like Les Pionnières. We like to give prizes to people very famous like them, like James Draw Prize, who recognize the excellence of architecture. So next, please. So, well, because of this context that you see, the Pritzker mostly given to men, a Grand Prix de l'Architecture only for men or nearly. So we decided to create this prize in France. So there is 4 categories: Young Woman Architect Award, Original Work Award, Woman Architect, and International rubric since 2017. Why we do that? To highlight the works and the career of talented women architects, to publicize and disseminate their projects, to provide a female role model for younger generations, and to encourage parity in a male-dominated profession. So we start in 2013, the first edition. So the first edition, we have no laureate on the past, because it was the first, of course. So we decide for the jury to have 1 person for the Chamber of Architects, 1 person from the Ministry of Culture, 1 person from other country, maybe 2 or 3, like 1 person from RIBA in London, and Doina Butica from Romania, and then association from France, Béatrice Oxent, which was the president of the Regional Order of Architects, and me. So the first winners was Odile Deck, very famous, and also Anne Demians, which is a very good architect as well, Jocelyne Behrendt, Françoise-Hélène Jourda, who died some years after, and the Click and the Calc, which is young architect. For the second year, we have on the jury the same composition, I will say, with the Order of Architects. Christine Lecomte, which is now the president of the Order of Architects in France, a national one. Béatrice Oxent, and the one who get it, and Karin Reiner, that's a German architect. This winner was Manuel Gautran, and then Mariam Ashford Brown for original work, and then Christian Schmöckel-Mollard, René Gaillousté, Agnès et Agnès. So the following year, we have, as I told you, I didn't tell you, but there was a prize in Italia. This prize in Italia was international, and the name was Arc Vision. Arc Vision Prize give 50,000 euros, 50,000 euro to the winner. So it was a very interesting prize, and Laura Peretti was a friend from Italia, but Angela Deber from Switzerland was the winner of this prize some years ago. Some people from ministry, and the winner of the last year, and me. So this year was Corinne Vezzoni, which is a good architect from Marseille and Aix-en-Provence, but she built everywhere as everybody. Véronique Descharrières, which built le Zoo de Vincennes, which is a refurbishment of a public space for zoologic park. I want you to come and visit this park. It's very fantastic. Nathalie Régnier-Kagan and OECO Architects. So the following year, we have on the jury Andrea Klinko from Slovakia, Teresa Bursko from London, Olivia Schmidt-Hirsch from Australia, and the other partner from North, all the other architects and the winner of the last year. So the people who win this year was Véronique Joffre. It's a good architect from Toulouse. And then Tania Conco, who works in Amsterdam. And Amelia Tavella, Ingrid Taillandier. Amelia from young architect from Marseille, Aix-en-Provence. And Ingrid Taillandier. And Eliane Castelnau, which is a pioneer, a woman who works a lot in Tunisia. And next year, we open to the International this competition. So the competition was open, and we have Carmen Pino who got it, and Karin Schmidt from South Africa. But the winner is Sophie Bertelier, which is over there, and La Architecture, which for young architect, and Marie Blancard and Cécile Mescam. Well, in the jury, we have Silja Tilner, which seems to be there. One Italian, which is Fluvia Fagotto, la Done Architecta, l'association, and Eva Avares, that you know well, and also the winner of the last years. So in 2018, the 6th edition, we have a very big jury, including people from South Africa and people from Germany, from Switzerland, and Anna Schabel, which is the new president of the English Architect woman. So a very big jury with Sibyl sorry for my pronunciation, from Germany. So it was a very big jury, a lot of people, and so we decided to give the prize to, please, next one. Nicole Concordet, who got the prize, and then Amanda Livette for the international prize. And then we have Mathilde Billet, Marie Zawitowski, and Sandra Di Giorgio for the young architect. And the following year, we have the winner of the last year, Mora, Karin Frosch from Austria, Katja Domschke from the task force of WUIA from Germany, and also the other people we used to have. And the winner was this year Dominique Jacob. She makes with Farlane, they make the City of the Mode, La Mode, and so many things. We have also Fabienne Bull, which is a very good architect in France, and Francine Houben from Meccano was the international winner, and Marie Perrin, young architect, and Marie-France Châtenay for a special mention, and Elisa Valero from Spain, which has nominated for the international prize. So what is the jury? So the next year was all the same people, more some people from Germany, Iris Weiss, which should be there. Also, we have Bettina Dreyer from Austria, and you know she is going to speak now. And all the people we used to have from Ministry and from Chamber of Architects. And the winner was Florence Lipski, that you will see if you come in Paris, because she will organize a trip with Sophie Berthelier, and Benedetta Tagliabue, which is from Mirales, and Tagliabue for the International Prize. Sophie Denisov for, with Roland Castro, very famous in France for Habiter le Ciel, which is a very interesting building in the suburb of Paris. Catherine Trebeljard from France and Switzerland. And Awesome, it's a group of young architects. There are 4 people, 3 ladies and 1 man. So we make the price in my home because of coronavirus. You heard about it, I suppose. So we have to do it in the home. But we make this price last year, and now we are expecting for the new price, because we have in 2 days or 3 days I have the jury to decide who is the winner. So please continue. So we invite you the 6th of December to take part of the ceremony of the woman architect in Paris, Pavillon de l'Arsenal. And if you want to register, www.wiseven.com, Prix des femmes architectes. I made a mistake on architect. 2021. It's free. It's a Pavillon de l'Arsenal. Next, please. I have also a very small. So come on. So come on. So come on. She will speak about it. So we have an exhibition of women architects, as you have done. Yes, please. This is the poster of the exhibition, but we have a big exhibition with 30 panels, and we can go everywhere to promote this woman, as you do. Next, please. And we make a symposium in Paris, in Saint-Denis in May, but unfortunately, because of this Corona, you could not come, but it was a pity, because there was a 2 days talk and very interesting woman who speak about architecture. Next, please. Next. So this is the program. Next. And we have put some pictures of women architects in the website. Yes, we plan. You can see them. Next, please. This is the Zac Seguin. We shall visit the 7th of December in the morning. A part of it. It is the entrance of a building built by Sophie Berthelier. Next. Okay, so don't forget, you can look at the conference we have done, and we have done half French, half English. So I have introduced people in English. They have presented the work in French and English. So if you go on femme.archi.org/conference, you have all the video of this meeting. And we are also going to do that in May in la Biennale d'Architecture et de Paysage in Versailles. So if we keep in touch, I will invite you. Next, please. So we also organize visit. We have a very interesting visit at the suburb of Paris. And with the suburb, we see something of Dominique Jacob. We've seen something of Florence Lipski, something from Marie Benetta Tagliabue. We have restored some building in France. And Sophie Denisov, who makes this, and Florence Lipski. So that's all, I think. I have another presentation, very short after, very short. Come on, next one. So this is my mail. If you want any information on our website, femme.archi.org. We have a part in French and part in English. Next. Next. So I want to, because the theme is a woman in architecture, I want to introduce some word about women in architecture on a small presentation. Yeah, we have, next. We have taking part in a group which name is Women in Architecture, and we used to travel, like this was in Hamburg 2 years ago. Frankfurt? Some years ago, yes, we have been in Frankfurt. It was a fantastic meeting. So next. So we have produced an ethical charter that is done by Spanish people. So Spanish people, no, Italian people. I've made a chart for equality, and it's interesting to think about equality and ethic in our work. So to promote the reconciliation of working and personal life, to disseminate the culture of equal opportunities and the progress achieved toward a truly responsible and supporting community. So this is a theory, and then the practice next. So some of yours are there. It was in Vienna. Next. So we have a national dimension because it is a network national. We are 30 women. We used to do meeting and conference. We used to do once a year la Biennale d'Architecture de Versailles, which will be the next. But also we were in the Biennale d'Architecture in Venice 2 or 3 years ago. We organize in Saint-Denis. We organize a meeting and often a visit of architecture. So a national dimension next, and also an international dimension. It's why I am here, and because we used to work with a lot of countries like Italia, like Spain, like Germany, like Austria, like Ireland, like England, and we have a big network of women all over the world, as you know, as you've done it in Spain and in Valencia. Next. So, including on this website, we have all the study we have done with Yes We Plan, for instance, study about Germany, Slovenia, Spain, Austria, France, and we can put and share all the documents inside this website, as well as the other website. Yes? Yes, please. So you have also all the conferences you click on, and you have the video, you have the pictures, you have the images of what we have done. Like you see in Linz some years ago when you organize a meeting. Yes, please. And you know that Women in Architecture is a network all over the world, even in America, even in Germany, even in New York, even in Spain. And we are very proud to connect all this network together with you. So that's all for me. Now it's Bettina who continues the discussion. Thanks a lot.
¿Se oye? Muy alto. Entonces, buenos días, muchas gracias para invitarnos, muchas gracias para dejarnos la posibilidad de explicar nuestras ideas de la vista de Austria. But I think I'll change to English now. This will be, okay, thank you. Some years ago, we were with the Austrian task force within our chamber of architects was invited by Catherine to Paris to visit the prize-giving ceremony. And we decided to go there, and since then, Catherine tried to persuade us to implement the prize. And we tried to find support by our governments, by the Chancellor of Arts, for example, by the Chancellor for Women's Affairs. And up to now, we were not really successful. But finally, we found support in our chamber, and they will now finance all the costs of we have in organizing the prize. And from today on, or from yesterday on, you can see the prize on internet. The site is still being built, but you can see what it's supposed to look like. Can we go on? We want to just have a spotlight on female, and we want to transport, like her view is a view of a new beginning. That's what we want to say with the word, with the name we gave to the prize, another future, her future. Next one, please. So it's the symbol circle for a woman, for spotlight, and the color we choose for transporting the idea of a new beginning. Next one. There will be, and that's what we copied from France quite a lot, there will be 4 categories, like the Female Architect of the Year, exactly like the French have it. the emerging female architects for young architects with the age up to 40. Then the idea of an outstanding female achievement, which in Austria we define as a prize for a very special project or very special idea, but also maybe done by civil engineers, by landscape planners, or by engineers concerning building. And then the fourth category, like in France, International Architect of the Year. Next one. Yeah, that's now just showing how they are going to the IT is doing it and how it will be presented on the internet and on all the social media. So we even printed the posters. They are new. Olivia brought them from Linz. We have this symbol, which is supposed to show we're going to the future. We're part of the future. Next. So that's how we will promote our prize in the different ways with the poster, other type of poster to put it on different places. And that's how it shall appear on social media. And if you give the name put the name on the internet on the phone, you should see the page already. Since yesterday, it should be seen. So if you want to try. And we really invite you to take part in the prize. We will finalize all our preparation work until March, until the final event of the Yes We Plan project, which will take part in Vienna. It's like an event like this in Valencia was learning and training event like this one was here now. The Austrians will organize it. And within this event, we will open the prize. We already selected some members of the jury, but as we expect a big number of members, as the French have it, we just can introduce you 3 of them up to now, or 4. So it's Eva. Muchas gracias a Eva. Yeah, and then she is a civil engineer, an engineer, constructing engineer, the one on the left, Gretel Salzer, she is Austrian. And then there are more members to come, which we still have to talk to. And that's how our participation and registration will work. You give like in the French system, you give your personal data to get the link, and then you will be able to upload your documents. The documents will be approved by the chamber, probably by Daphne or someone. And so just to see whether you gave everything. And then we have a jury, 2 steps of jury, and the prize giving ceremony, as the French have it. Yeah, and we have something like the female Oscar, which is supposed to be the prize coming from our symbol going to the future. So we really invite you to see us in Vienna and to take part in our prize. Thank you very much.
A ver si ahora. Yo, para finalizar el acto, pues espero que hayan entendido suficiente el inglés internacional que tenemos, con distintos acentos, y quien quiera tener algún dato más o no se haya aclarado con algo, pues me tiene a su disposición para lo que necesite. Yo no puedo estar más que agradecida al colegio, por supuesto a Marina, a Irene, a Marga y a todos, y a Carlos, que no por ser chico no es feminista, a todas las personas feministas que lo apoyan desde aquí. Mil gracias.
Bueno, pues, ¿está en marcha ya? Sí. Desde aquí agradecer, por supuesto, a Yes We Plan por haber pensado en el colegio, pensar siempre para este tipo de eventos, para traer cualquier tipo de evento relacionado con esta causa. Nosotros, cualquier cosa, como os comentaba antes que Marina dice, que participa cuando solicitáis la casa, por supuesto seguirá siendo así. También aprendemos mucho de todas estas cosas. Gracias a ellos empezamos la iniciativa de montar una exposición el pasado marzo que recogiera el trabajo o cómo veían la arquitectura las arquitectas de Valencia, y desde el Colegio de Arquitectos pudimos poner en marcha esta idea junto con la colaboración de Eva. Esta exposición itineró a todas nuestras sedes y la verdad es que no veíamos mejor oportunidad como colofón de esta Semana de la Arquitectura que instalarla de nuevo para que podáis disfrutar de parte de los paneles, porque todos no cabían, y hemos intentado que las que estéis presentes tengáis vuestro panel aquí. De esta exposición se hizo un catálogo que tenéis, por supuesto, todas las asistentes a vuestra disposición aquí al lado y que ahora podréis recoger. Y nada, haceros llegar el trabajo de las mujeres arquitectas. Gracias a todos por venir.